All right, so you wanted to deep dive Hillbilly Elegy.
Yeah.
And, at first I was like, okay, a memoir, but it's
Mm-hmm.
really way more than that, right?
Right.
I mean, this book, it's
Absolutely.
like a firsthand look at what so many in the white working class
Yeah.
are going through, especially in Appalachia.
Right. And the Rust Belt, too.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Like,
Cool.
how can you not be affected by his grandma? Like almost shooting a guy over a cow.
It's just wild, right?
Talk about setting the tone.
Yeah. And it really gets you into that whole mindset,
Totally. Okay, so Vance grew up in Middletown, Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
but the story really starts in Jackson, Kentucky, right?
Yeah, in Appalachia.
So, like, what's the deal with these two places?
Well, it's like he's always between two worlds.
Okay.
Middletown was the hope, the promise of a better life.
Right, the jobs, the factories.
Exactly. All these folks heading north on what they call the Hillbilly Highway.
Okay.
But Jackson, that's where they came from, the roots, the traditions, but
But also the problems that came with them.
yeah, the struggles that followed them.
So it wasn't just a move, it was like bringing a whole culture with them.
Totally. And Vance's family, they're like the perfect example.
Yeah.
Like his grandparents, mama, and papa.
I mean, Mama.
Right. Larger than life.
What a character, huh?
Oh, she's amazing. But they both showed this resilience, in the hardships.
But like Mama almost shooting that guy over a cow.
Yeah, back in Jackson.
Intense.
But then you have Papa struggling with alcohol. The violence.
It's heavy.
It is.
Like it's just baked into their lives,
Yeah, the poverty, the addiction, it becomes part of their story.
And Vance doesn't shy away from any of it. Like,
No, not at all.
he talks about violence being normal, father figures coming and going.
Constant moving.
Imagine that as a kid.
Yeah, tough to even think about.
And Mama, man, what a contradiction.
Oh, tell me about it.
She's like, get good grades. But then she'd say,
What, like...
don't be like these losers who think the world's against them.
Yeah, it's wild.
Like she's pushing him towards something she doesn't even believe in.
That's the learned helplessness he talks about,
Right.
Why even try?
And she's tough as nails, but still.
It's ingrained, that feeling.
So how does Vance break free?
The Marines?
Really?
Yeah, it gave him discipline, a whole new way to see things.
Oh.
Then Ohio State University.
Okay, now we're talking.
The door opened, right?
And then Yale Law School.
I know, talk about a jump.
It's like a whole other planet, right?
Seriously. He's surrounded by wealth, privilege, things he'd never seen.
And that's where he runs into this social capital thing.
Yeah, exactly.
What is that exactly?
It's not just about money, it's the connections.
Ah,
The networks, the unspoken rules,
okay.
Mentors, internships, even knowing how to dress for an interview.
Stuff most people take for granted.
And Vance had to learn it all from scratch.
So it's not just about hard work for someone like him. It's like...
It's navigating a whole new system.
Right. And Yale, that must have been...
He felt like an outsider, didn't get the rules.
But he got in somehow, right?
Oh, he was driven.
Yeah.
But he also talks about mentors, people who saw something in him.
Huh. Like guides.
Yeah, guiding him through it all.
Makes think, how many others are out there who just need
It's a shame.
a little help,
It is a real loss.
So let's talk about Vance going back to Middletown after Yale.
Yeah, because that's where things get really...
Yeah, hold that thought. Let's pick this up after a quick break.
So Vance goes back to Middletown after all that, Yale Law School.
Yeah.
And you'd think, okay, maybe things got better.
Right, some progress.
But it's like he stepped back in time.
It's like nothing changed. Or worse.
Exactly. Factories still closed, no jobs.
And the opioid crisis, right?
Oh, it's everywhere, hitting everyone hard.
He talks about that learned helplessness again.
But this time, it's not just an idea.
It's real people.
Yeah, remember that Mama quote? Those losers who think the deck's stacked? Vance sees it everywhere. People giving up.
Like they accept it.
It's heartbreaking.
And it's not just individuals, really.
It's the whole community. No hope.
They don't trust anyone.
No, the government, the media, anyone they see as elite.
It's like they think the system's rigged.
And that makes it even harder to break free.
Because why try if you don't believe in it, right?
It's a vicious cycle.
And he even says some programs, like meant to help,
Yeah, the ones trying to do good.
they can actually make it worse.
By making people dependent, not empowered.
It's a tough spot to be in.
It is. No easy answers.
But he ties it all back to bigger things happening.
Oh, yeah, the economy, the whole country.
Like what specifically?
Manufacturing, disappearing, globalization,
Right, jobs going overseas.
stable jobs, gone, and the white working class hit the hardest.
So it's not just bad choices. It's like,
It's the system, the whole thing.
yeah, and it affects Whole towns, families.
That's what makes this book so important, I think.
Okay, how so?
It's not just another story about poverty, drugs.
Right, it's deeper.
It makes you look past the stereotypes
See the real people.
and understand it's not just about personal failings.
It's way more complicated.
It's everything, social, economic, cultural.
It's all connected.
And Vance doesn't pretend he has the answers.
No, but
Like,
he's big.
Makes you think, makes you see it differently.
More compassion, less judgment.
Exactly, and that's huge.
So we talked about Middletown, Jackson, even Yale.
Yeah.
But there's the Marines, too.
Oh, right.
How does that fit in?
That was a turning point, I think.
Okay.
It gave him discipline, that
So
self-reliance.
structure? Yeah.
Purpose. He needed that.
So it wasn't just getting out of Middletown.
It was gaining something, skills to build a life.
And the Marines, they're all about certain values, right?
Hard work, sacrifice, loyalty.
Which actually fit his background, too.
It's interesting, right? Those values helped him at Yale, too.
It's like he found a way to use both
Yeah. He took the best of each world.
and made his own path.
That's a key takeaway from the book, I think.
What do you mean?
It's not about forgetting where you came from.
Or becoming someone totally different,
It's finding that balance, honoring your past.
but still taking those new opportunities.
And that's something a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah, no matter where you're from,
Exactly, finding your own way.
being true to yourself.
Yeah, and I think Vance shows that the American dream.
It's still possible.
But it's not the same for everyone.
It's different for each person.
It takes resilience, being able to adapt,
Yeah.
always learning.
And it's not just on the individual, right?
Oh, absolutely. Society has to do its part too.
Like giving everyone a fair chance,
Breaking down those barriers, that's key.
especially for those who started with less.
Vance's story shows how hard it can be.
It's not just about working hard, it's about
It's about a level playing field.
so everyone can reach their full potential,
And that takes all of us.
working together.
Recognizing everyone has something to offer.
And we're all better off when everyone can succeed.
And that's where Vance brings it back around. He doesn't just point out problems, he wants solutions.
Right.
He says we need strong communities, trust.
Working together again.
He says families, communities, role models, that's what matters.
Especially for kids in tough situations.
It's not just about government programs, it's about...
It's about people helping each other.
And that takes a lot of effort from everyone.
Investing in education, jobs.
Fighting the opioid crisis, supporting families.
It's a big task.
It is, but the goal is to make a society where
Everyone feels valued, everyone has a chance.
And that's what Hillbilly Elegy is really about.
Okay.
It's about hope, resilience, believing things can get better.
Even when it's tough.
It's about choosing to rise above, making a better future.
For everyone.
And for the generations coming after us. And you know what really struck me? When Vance talks about that moral freedom thing.
Oh, after leaving Middletown? Yeah, it's like he could finally breathe.
Right, no more judgment, no expectations.
He could be himself.
Yeah, make his own choices. It's powerful.
But it's complicated too, right? Like,
Oh, totally. It's the whole social mobility thing.
yeah, like it's good to break free, have opportunities.
But it can be isolating too.
Like not belonging anywhere.
Exactly, stuck between two worlds.
Too hillbilly for Yale, too elite for Middletown.
He says he felt like an outsider everywhere.
And that's something a lot of people deal with, right? Moving between classes.
Oh, yeah, it's like trying to fit in two different cultures.
Different values, different ways of doing things.
And Vance even admits he hid his background at Yale.
He was afraid of being judged.
Which is a kind of discrimination, right?
It's subtle, but it's there.
Makes you realize how important it is to be inclusive.
Yeah, make everyone feel welcome.
So they can succeed, bring their own perspective.
But Vance, he found a way to bridge those worlds.
Yeah, he didn't reject where he came from.
He owned it, used it to help others understand.
And that's what makes this book so powerful, right?
It's not just his story, it's a call for empathy.
To see each other connect as human beings.
Okay, but how do we actually do something?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Like, how do we take this feeling and make a difference?
Vance has some ideas, things he thinks are important.
Like what?
Strong communities, rebuilding trust.
Working together again?
Shared purpose, he says that's key.
So it's not just about money, programs.
It's about the people, the connections.
Families, communities, role models.
Especially for kids, that support system is everything.
So it's a multi-pronged approach, huh?
Investing in education, creating jobs.
Fighting the opioid crisis, helping families.
It's a lot, but the goal is to make a society where
everyone has a chance.
yeah, a fair shot at a good life.
And that's what Hillbilly Elegy boils down to.
Hope, Resilience, believing in something better.
It's inspiring, in a way.
It reminds us that we can make a difference, even when things are tough.
It's about choosing to rise above, making a better future,
For everyone, ourselves, our kids.
and everyone after us.
And that's a pretty good note to end on, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely gives you something to think about.
Hillbilly Elegy. It's a powerful story.
Makes you look at things differently, that's for sure.
And hopefully it inspires us all to do our part,
To create a world where everyone has a chance to thrive.
no matter where they come from.
Well said. Thanks for diving deep into Hillbilly Elegy with us.
My pleasure.
And to you listening, keep those deep dives coming. We'll be here to unpack them with you.